Welcome to In the Zone with Anthony. And the lunchtime edition of In the Zone. Still have yet to get to that extended version yet, but I'll get there. But in the meantime, just want to do a quick pop in here. Probably have a little bit more than 10 minutes to do. Deion Sanders rejects Shaquille O'Neal's offer to coach the Dallas Cowboys. Says, I have a problem with professional athlete not doing his job, and he's been handsomely paid. Primetime Deion Sanders was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. NFL fans had a good time watching it. It's a treat every time we get to see Primetime. The HBCU coach addressed several topics, but most important was his response to Shaquille O'Neal. The former NBA player has pitched Sanders' name for being the next Dallas Cowboys coach before. The latest edition of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon was a treat for football fans. We got to learn many things about Coach Sanders, but most important was the answer to a question raised by an NBA legend and Dallas Cowboys fan. Jimmy Fallon brought up Shaquille O'Neal. The late night talk show host said that Shaq had pitched the name of Deion Sanders to become the next HC of the Dallas Cowboys. Coach Prime had a simple answer of Shaquille O'Neal. I love Jerry Jones. I love the Cowboys, replied Deion. But I cannot coach pros. I have a problem with a professional athlete not doing his job, and he's being handsomely paid. I don't have any toleration for that. There's some out there working their butts off, but there's plenty out there that just don't get it. And I would fight. I would fight every day as a coach. I couldn't do it. I'm old school. Then Primetime used Jimmy Fallon as an example and said that he made it this far due to his work ethic. Coach Prime compares that ethic to the way a college player plays. He continues, yeah, it would be tough, Sanders adds, because you see these kids, they want to play. So it does not seem like Coach Sanders will be accepting the offer of Shaquille O'Neal. Sanders' coaching career. Deion Sanders started his coaching career in 2012 as the head coach of Prime Prep Academy. In 2020, Prime took over Jackson State. This is where he would find the most success. Last season was historic for them. For the first time in the team's history, they won 11 games in the season, all thanks to Coach Prime. He won the 2021 SWAC Coach of the Year and the Eddie Robinson Award. Due to the coach's enormous success, Shaquille O'Neal tried to pitch his name for the next HC of the Dallas Cowboys. But Alice, the coach, didn't bite. So, question. Is Deion really pro-coaching material? And could he be successful in the pros if at some point he decides to give in? Which right now, it looks like giving in is the farthest thing from Deion Sanders' mind. In other related news, there is still talk of Grambling State and Art Briles. Grambling State reminded us all why forgiveness shouldn't apply to hiring Art Briles. I had a bad feeling that someone would sell themselves on Art Briles being a college coach again. Back in August 2021, the NCAA ruled that while Briles was at Baylor, he didn't violate their rules with his inaction. Of course, this is the NCAA, as in the organization that refused to take part in Larry Nassar's investigation after his decades of abuse at Michigan State, which ultimately led to a prison sentence of up to 175 years. In other words, you can't exactly fall back on the NCAA to be the judge, the jury, or the executioner. Well, unless you're Grambling State. You see, it was Grambling State who was willing to fall back on that, even though a lawsuit against Baylor claimed that 52 rapes occurred by at least 31 football players from 2011 to 2014 while Briles was head coach there. Never mind the fact that Pepper Hamilton findings show that Baylor hindered enforcement of rules and policies and created a cultural perception that football was above the rules. But hey, let's see what Grambling State Athletic Director Trayvon Scott thinks about his historic football program hiring Briles as its new offensive coordinator. I'm rooted in fact, Scott told ESPN on Thursday. I know a lot of things are said and done. We felt it was appropriate to give Briles a chance to really redeem himself after understanding where the facts lie. Rooted in fact, huh? Here's a fact. Go find the university's release on Briles' hiring. I'll give you a minute. Oh, you can't find it. Just because it doesn't exist. What did exist was, instead, an exclusive sit-down with Briles from local TV station KTAL. Why would the university let a local news station introduce its new assistant instead of doing that itself, you ask? A few reasons. By the way, yes, that is Briles seated in the tweet. He looks like someone who spent 6 years on a deserted island. He basically did, and with good reason. You see, the facts are that Hugh Jackson, now the Grambling State head coach, tried to bring Briles to the Cleveland Browns as an offensive consultant in 2016 until he left because of local and national backlash. The facts are that Southern Miss announced it was interviewing Briles for their vacant offensive coordinator position in 2018, and head coach Jay Hobson banged the drum for Briles to get a second chance, until public backlash from donors, fans, and administrators, along with the pending NCAA investigation, led to former interim athletic director Jeff Mitchell nixing the interview before Briles even stepped on campus. The facts are that Hobson wanted to bypass these findings in order to add Briles to his staff. We've reached the part of the argument where someone says everybody deserves a second chance. Agreed. I've made countless mistakes. So have you. We all agree that nobody is perfect, but there's a fine line between being given a second chance at forgiveness as a human being and being given a second chance to return to a coveted job. Briles, by virtue of getting any college coaching jobs, gets the latter. And some might say, well, it's not like he's taken over a program again, or hasn't he suffered enough? To those people, I say, let's not talk about Briles suffering as someone who was in a position of power and admittedly did not follow proper protocol to report allegations of sexual violence over the course of several years. Being a college football coach is a privilege. It's something that such a small percentage of the profession will get to do. You deserve to lose that privilege by abusing power in the way that Briles did. Being a coach at an HBCU like Grambling State is a privilege. It's something that a legend like Doug Williams takes great pride in. Speaking of Williams, let's check in on him as one of the 5 Grambling State players who earned a spot in the College Football Hall of Fame. I'm having a problem with it because other schools will not bite on it. Then he's coming to a black school like we'll take him in, Williams told ESPN. I have a problem with it, a major problem with it. I can't support it, that's for sure. That hurt me to my core right there. I know late coach Eddie Robinson is turning over right now. Williams hit on something key right there. Other schools would not bite on it. Southern Miss tried, but the backlash following an official statement of just the interview squashed that. That's also exactly why Grambling State didn't bother with an official statement before or after the hire. At the professional ranks, the CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats tried to hire Briles, but the backlash forced them to rescind the hire less than 12 hours later. The team's owner called it a major blunder. What those teams assumed was that as long as Briles wasn't in a position of power, it would be okay. As in, it would be fine as long as it was no longer up to him to go into living rooms and tell families that he'd put their child in the best position to succeed. They hoped they'd be able to maximize the best parts of Briles, his offensive acumen, while pretending that the worst parts of Briles, cultivating a culture of negligence, of reporting sexual violence on a college campus, were all in the past. It doesn't work like that. It should never work like that. To support that way of thinking is, at the very least, downplaying why abuse of power is such a serious offense. That's why Briles had been banished from the sport he once dominated. There's a reason why Briles' only two jobs in football since Baylor were in Florence, Italy, coaching semi-pro football, and in Mount Vernon, Texas, coaching high school football. In other words, a Texas high school was the only place in the Western Hemisphere that actually went through with hiring Briles in the last 6 years. That is, until Grambling State bit. And boy, what a tough pill that is to swallow. So, in 12 minutes and some change, you've been locked in the zone. And now it is time for me to step out of the zone. But I hope that you have found this content very informative. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a blessed day. And always remember to stay locked in the zone with your boy, Anthony. Talk to you later.